Hi, everybody. Once again, I'm very happy to have here today host our Jeff, Jeff the Great Romualdi.
Yeah.
He is one of my best friend in MLM, and he knows almost everything about MLM. So that's why we are asking him usually many different questions and regarding the system on your life that Don Fela teaches us. Today we have the topic ask the right questions. So Jeff, maybe we can start. I don't know if you would like to add something for the very beginning. If not, I will start with the first question.
Yeah, first of all, can you guys see me clearly? Because I'm getting some fuzziness on my end. You see me?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Yeah, I'd like to start off with thank you for the introduction, Adriana. I'd like to start off by thanking everybody here for showing up. I mean, that's 90% of winning in this business, once you understand our system and you plug into it, is showing up. Really. I mean, it's how hard is what we do, right? We talk to people about what they want or let them read a card, have them go through 5 chapters of a book so they understand it, and then show them our particular vehicle. And then we help them do the same. I mean, I just explained network marketing to you in less than 30 seconds. That's how simple it is. And if you keep it simple and you plug in like you guys are doing, you cannot go wrong. You can't fail. It's all about not quitting and staying focused on what you want. So, showing up today, and I'm not just saying that, I mean, there's a million things we all could be doing, right? On a Wednesday evening with our families and stuff. And you chose to show up here, which tells me all I need to know about you. And that's the kind of people you want to work with. So thank you very much. You're on the right track. Okay, I'm ready to go.
Ready to go. Okay, I'm
Ready
ready
to go.
almost
Yeah.
to go too. So the first question, people usually before they start acting should ask themselves what they want to achieve in life, why they want to do it. Did you ask yourself this question when you started doing network marketing? Why did you start doing network marketing?
Yeah, that's a great question. We all have to have our reasons, right? It's all about reasons. And my reasons were, I was always the kid, I had a paper route when I was a little kid. I had a lemonade stand. I was always the kid who wanted to make some extra money. I'd bring candy to school and sell it. I was always that kind of kid. So I was always looking for something when I was younger. I thought it was fun, but I really wanted to make money because I didn't really have a lot of money in our family. So I kind of had that hunger when I was young. And then just to get back to your question, I read an article about network marketing, and I liked what I heard. It sounded pretty good to me. At the time, I was a salesperson in a company that sold life insurance and disability income and things along that line. And the article talked about leverage and how you could make a lot more money than just based on what you sold. And it told me I could make a lot more money than I was making at the time. And I thought that was great. So I started looking for a company. And I ran into a guy who had a really neat product. And I said, sign me up. And that's how I started. And so the take home message there is, I always talk about being selective in who you choose. And it wasn't like I was anything special. I mean, 90% of the things I did back in those days were wrong, not only in network marketing, but just in life in general. I mean, I was a scatterbrain. I came from a couple divorces in the family. I kind of sort of raised myself from when I was about 10 years old on. So, it's not like I had a lot of guidance there. So I did a lot of things wrong. But what I did have going for me was I had a drive for whatever reason. I think it had to do with with my, my stepdad raised me, and I couldn't do anything right in my stepdad's eyes. Everything I did, it was like I did it wrong, or it wasn't good enough, or whatever. But at the same time, there were some things I was good at. Like I was good at baseball. I was a good baseball player. God gave me that gift. And that people would say, man, you got a lot of skills. You might be able to be a professional someday. So here's my stepdad on the one hand telling me I can't do anything right, and then there's other people who I respected that said, hey, you're really good at this. So I just chose to like believe them. So that's kind of like, so the reason that I tell you that, because it's not exactly answering your question, other than, I read the article, that's how I got started, was because I think your character is set by the time you're 6 years old. I really believe that. I talk all the time about being very selective and finding the right kind of people. You're looking for the people who have the drive, what do we talk about? Track record. Whatever they did they do it well? Or even if they didn't do it well, did they really work hard at trying to do it well? Because I didn't do a lot of things well in the beginning, but I stuck with it. So that's, people who are warm, open, and easy to talk to, who you can count on, have credibility and influence with their peers, people who are industrious, who can take some direction. I couldn't take direction back in those days, so I was lacking there, but at least I had that thing inside me, and that's what you're looking for with people. Be very selective, because 80% of the people in the world, if they get in network marketing, they're not going to do anything unless they have those character traits. Good communication and good people skills, very important. You don't have to be a salesperson or anything like that. And it's fine if you are a salesperson, that's fine, as long as you understand network marketing. But you find those people, you teach them the system, and then you help them duplicate. And so I got started real simple. I read an article, and I went and I found the network. No one was out there trying to recruit me. I was looking to be recruited. And that's what you're looking for, folks. And you can always tell those kinds of people. There's always a cloud of smoke coming out from behind them. They're action people. They're always in action. And it's hard to get them to sit down and pay attention to what you have to say, because they're always in action. But if you can develop a relationship with them, or you already have a relationship with them, if you can find out what they want, and you can ask them a quick question, and you got to be fast with these people because they're always on the go. Okay. If you can ask them the right question, you might be able to get their attention. And if you can plug them into the system, get them to talk to Don, get them on a 3-way call with me, or, someone in your downline who's sharp, then you have a good chance of getting them. You might not get them right now, but if you stay in touch with them appropriately over time, you will eventually get about 50% of them. And you only need 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 key people to do anything you want in this business. It's not that hard. It's just, you got to find people who want something, who really want something. Look at Adriana as a great example. I never talk her into anything. She does all this stuff, these videos, the Zoom calls. I never sat back with her when, we first sponsored her, Don and I never sat back and said, hey, Adriana, here's what I expect you to do. It's like, I taught her the system, and I told her I would be available to help her, which you have to be. That is your responsibility as a sponsor, to help your people who want to succeed. That's your total responsibility. And you can never go wrong. Okay. You can never go wrong if you always have your people's best interest at heart. It's not about you. It's always about them, 100%. As long as they're, coachable and they treat it like a business. Focus on helping them get what they want. And, Jim Rohn always said it, you'll always get what you want, especially with our system. So look for those right people, and I already described who they are. Look for a couple other things along that line. Look for people who read. I used to go grab books. The Magic of Thinking Big, like was the, it talked about how if you change your thoughts, you can change your world. And that's what makes us different than a cow or a pig. And I was like, wow, really? When I first read that, I just thought I didn't like know that. I thought if you woke up on the wrong side of the bed and you were miserable, that's the way it was supposed to be. Well, I read this book and it said, no, you can change your thoughts and that'll change your entire day, which will change your entire life. So look for people who read and study. I mean, Earl Nightingale, there's unbelievable. I listened to his audio book called Lead the Field. If you guys haven't listened to Lead the Field, you are missing out. That is an incredible, just YouTube it. Earl Nightingale, Lead the Field. And you know what Earl Nightingale, the big take I got from him is you become what you think about all day long. That's what you become. So you better guard what you think about, because if you're thinking about the wrong things, you're going to become something that you don't want. And again, it all goes back to Adriana asking me that question. How'd you get involved? I was looking to get involved. I wanted to do something. Look for those people, right? You can't go wrong. And again, you won't always get them in the beginning. Maybe you don't even know them very well. Well, figure out a way to get to know them. Get some introductions to them. Stay in touch with them. Read autobiographies on, there's some TV shows right now on that I'm watching. I like reality stuff. I don't like fiction stuff too much, but I just, Cornelius Vanderbilt, who built all the railroads over here in the United States. Unbelievable story. Dirt poor, pulled himself up by the bootstraps, all the things he did to succeed. Read about those kinds of people. Henry Ford, the car magnate, unbelievable story. Read their stories. J.P. Morgan, he started the banks. Incredible. I mean, it goes on and on. Look for people who study success. That's who you're looking for. And you'll just keep your eyes open. You'll see them. They're always moving 100 miles an hour. And they're not always doing everything right. And sometimes they get people angry and all that kind of stuff. But those are the kinds of people who are going to build your business. All right. It's finding the right people. And then, once you find them, then you just got to ask them some good questions, Hey, Adriana, you're super sharp. I've been involved in a business for almost 30 years. I'm more excited about it today than I ever was. Someone like you could be unbelievable in our business. I don't know if the timing's right for you or not. All right. But I was just wondering, would you be open to checking out some brief information if I get it out to you, or if you could see Adriana, if I knew you were a big thinker, I was thinking to myself, I'm building a marketing business right now. And I was thinking to myself, who's the sharpest people that I know? And Adriana, you popped into my mind, and I know, I know you could do well at what I'm doing. I was wondering if you check it out, because, you're just one of my favorite people in the world. And I admire you a lot. Learn to give people sincere compliments too. That's a big plus. People love compliments, but they have to be sincere. And that's it's a great way to start relationships. So, okay.
You actually and have answer on my second question. How should the right question for the prospect be structured? Should we ask them how much they want to earn? What is the most important thing we should get to know from them?
Yeah. I kind of did answer that question, but I'll expand on it a little bit. I mean, you always, I call, when I sponsor someone, the first thing that I do is tell them not to make a move without me. And then I send them a homework assignment. I call that plan A. It gives you a huge head start because, it allows you to figure out, what they want and who these people know. So, and it's all about relationships. I mean, if you don't know the person that you're dealing with, it's going to be hard to ask them a question that moves them, but if you know what moves them, it's very simple to get them into action. For example, and some of you probably heard me give this example. If you had and this is why this whole business is about relationships, 100%, because anybody can learn the system in about 10 minutes. So you got to get to know people really well, and you got to be selective. Okay. So let's just say, and I'll take, this isn't even about network marketing, but it'll make the point, I think. Let's just say you had a daughter who needed delicate eye surgery. Did anybody ever hear me tell this story? Or no? Okay. Your daughter needs delicate eye surgery, right? And if she didn't get the surgery within a month, she would go blind. Okay. And because of her particular problem with her eyes, there's only 3 surgeons in the world that know how to solve this particular problem. Okay. And again, if she doesn't get this surgery within the next month, she's going to go blind. Do you think there's a little bit of urgency there for you to keep your daughter from going blind? Do you think that that would be important to that person? Obviously, it would. Okay. So let's just say, for example, my best friend who I grew up with from a little boy was one of those 3 eye surgeons. Okay. And oh, and by the way, and the surgery cost, let's just say $100,000 to be able to get it. And you didn't have insurance. You had to pay for it out of your pocket. Okay. And I heard your story and I said, well, Adriana, you know, I think I can help you out. My best friend is one of the 3 surgeons that does that kind of eye surgery. Right. And I think I could talk to him. And if you could get your little girl over here, you know, within the next couple of weeks, he could do the surgery for you. And because he's my best friend, he'll do it for free. Do you think that you'd say, well, no, I gotta think about that a little bit. Let me think about that. I don't think you'd say that, right? I think you'd say, call, please, thank you, call your friend. Okay. So in other words, I knew what your problem was and I knew how to help you. And if you can come, if you understand people and what they want, and you can ask the proper question and put it together, 90% of the time, you're going to have people take a look at what, and we're just talking about network marketing here. Not nearly as important as your daughter going blind. So, if you have a wealthy person, for example, who's making a lot of money, $1 million, $2 million a year, but they're working 80 hours a week. All right. And because of it, their marriage is terrible. They don't have a great relationship with their kids, but maybe the man loves his wife. He loves his kids. It's just that he can't get away from his business, or he thinks it's going to fall apart. That's a true scenario, by the way, with a lot of people who have traditional businesses. They just don't feel that they can take their hands out of the business. They feel like they have to be there or everything's going to cave in. So if you had that situation going on and you had a relationship with that person, okay, it always comes back to that, because if they don't know you from Adam, they're probably not going to listen to you, right? But if you have a relationship, or you know how to develop a relationship with that kind of person, you could say something like this, Joe, if you could see a way to make or to work 1/3 of the hours that you're working right now and make twice the money, would you be open to checking out some brief information? And if you had a really good relationship with them, you could throw in there, I know that you want to spend more time with your wife and kids. You've said it about 100 times, over the last year or so. And I found something that might be able to solve your problem. Again, maybe work 1/3 of the hours, make twice the money. Would you be open to taking a look? Do you think that person would be willing to take a look, who was in a situation like that? I'd say probably so. So again, it all boils down to relationships. And what was the question? How should the right question be structured? Obviously, you have to know the person to structure that question like that. If you don't know the person, then you always have the card to rely on. It's not nearly as the own your life question. It's not nearly as powerful as if you know the person, but it's still very powerful. So if that's where you have to start, I mean, it could be as simple as, for example, today we had a new mailman show up at our house, delivering the mail. and it was raining outside, and I saw him coming up from my window. So I opened the door and I said hi to him, and it was really raining, and I said, man, I admire you. You're out in this rain, freezing your rear end off. Thank you so much. Again, I gave him a sincere compliment. Thank you so much for bringing my mail to me in the freezing rain. And I had never met. This is a brand new guy. I guess my other the mail girl who delivers, I guess she's on vacation this week. But yeah, he a big smile came on his face. I mean, he's been delivering mail all day long in this freezing cold rain, right? And I came out with a big smile on my face, gave him a sincere compliment, thanking him. All right. And we talked for about a minute or so, and I said, hey, you want a cup of coffee or something for on the go? He's all, no. I was just nice to him. And then when he was getting ready to leave, since I never met him before, I said, hey, by the way, I said, my wife and I are involved in a marketing company, and we're looking for some really nice people, people like yourself. Would it be okay if I gave you my lifestyle card? And he said, of course. Of course. I gave him the card. I said, when you get it 30 seconds, give it a read. If you're interested in learning more, give me a call. That's it. That's how simple this business is. Sincere compliment from the heart. And then I didn't know him from Adam, but I got my card in his hands, right? And I started a relationship with that guy. Everything has to start somewhere, right? And who knows where that'll lead. You just don't know. So again, there's two ends of the spectrum. There's the people that you know really well, and you can structure the perfect question for them. Or there's someone like the mailman right there that I never met in my entire life, that I just gave a sincere compliment from the heart, and he ended up taking my lifestyle card home with him. And then there's everybody in between. There's everything in between. So is there anything to that question? Structure the right question. So hopefully, does that answer the question?
Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Yep. You bet.
The next question is the question from the 45-second presentation. Have you ever thought what it would be like? A universal question, or should we adapt it to the situation?
Yeah. I mean, you always, worst case scenario, I just gave you an example of the mailman. No relationship, but I wanted to let him know what I did. That's the worst case. Of course, that's why I always start with a plan A. I want people who I sponsor to make a short list of 5, 10, maybe 15 people, whatever, that have the following characteristics: a great track record of success. Whatever they did well. Nice people, reliable people, good communication, good people skills. All those different, industrious, credibility and influence with their peers. Why? Because they're the right kind of people. They're the kinds of people who do well in network marketing or anything if they get involved in it. So I'm looking for that first, but I'm looking for more than that, because once they send me that homework assignment, I'm asking them more questions. Sounds like a super sharp person, this Adriana. Tell me more. Does she have any kids? Yeah, she has some boys. How old are they? Well, one's in the late teens, early 20s. Well, what do they do? Well, one's, plays the guitar. And, I'm learning all about these people, because if I can get the right people and learn about them, and they go through the system, and I get on a 3-way call or a Zoom with them, man, I can create rapport with them really, really easy in 5 or 10 minutes, and probably, get a lot of those people started really, really quick. Why? Because I know about them. I know who they are. I know what they want. The better you understand who you're dealing with, the quicker you'll grow in network marketing. Now, on the opposite end, the people of the NFL club, no friends left. All right. And really, there's ways around that too, but let's just pretend that's true. That, I talked to someone, 6 months ago, was in 26 network marketing companies. Didn't make any money in any of them. All his friends, all his relatives, they never wanted to talk with him anymore, because he just ruined his relationship by always trying to talk to them and persuade them and convince them to get involved in something, right? So in that case, I simply showed him how to build relationships on Facebook. because he didn't have any good relationships. I felt bad for the guy. But if you know what to do, you can, just like you meet friends in real life when you're kids and when you're an adult, we can make friends anytime, right? You can do the same thing on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever. You just have to know how to do it. And it all starts with, on social media, and I think we're going to do a webinar on this. I'm glad to do it, like how to build relationships on social media. And it's not talking about your business. It starts out with maybe a happy birthday. I have like 3,000 people on my Facebook list. That means about 7 or 8 people a day have birthdays. You can just hop on there, send them a little voicemail. Hey, happy birthday. I hope your day is super special. Maybe you didn't know them very well. They were just Facebook friends. Maybe you never met them, right? Well, you can start that relationship with a happy birthday, and then you can just follow up on that periodically. And if you find out that they're the kind of people that you'd like to work with, at some point, it might be a month, it might be 6 months, it might be a year, it might be never. But at some point, if they're the right kind of person, because you always want to be selective, right, with who you're introducing your business to, all right? At some point, when you get to know them well enough, then you can ask them in the right way to take a look at your business. And most of those people will take a look at it because they've, over a period of a month or 3 months or 6 months, you've built that relationship. Now they know you, they like you, they trust you. They know you didn't jump on them from the very beginning about a business opportunity. In other words, you had their interest at heart, right? And now you ask them a question and they're like, yeah, okay, I'll take a look at that. I like Mats. He's a nice guy. I like Daniel. I like Monica. They're nice people. I'll take a look. Now they may or may not get involved, but that doesn't make any difference at all whether they get involved. It makes none, zero. If they're the right kind of person and you plant the seed right, all you have to do is appropriately follow up with them over time, and you'll get 50% of them. And it always comes back to this. When you understand network marketing, you only need 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 of those kinds of people who are coachable, who treat it like a business, and then you help them do the same to build anything you want in network marketing. You don't need to go out there and recruit or sponsor the world. You need 3 to 6 people. And if you do it right, it's impossible not to find them. Okay? Did that answer the question?
Yeah, that's right. And
yeah, start off. You have to start off there. That's what you do. You do whatever you have to do. But again, work your way up to building relationships because it makes it so much easier. If I went out and talked to 100 people a day, if I stood in the mall and all I did was stand there and I handed out cards all day long, just like, hi, nice to meet you. Would it be okay if I gave you my lifestyle card? If that's all I did and I stood there for, 8 hours a day, there is something to be said about the law of averages, especially when we have such a great question like that. Okay. Eventually you probably would be successful, but here's the problem. It would take you a long time, and most people would quit long before they became successful. So, don't utilize the law of average, throwing mud against the wall and hope some sticks. I recommend not doing that. Go to the people who know you, like you, and trust you, who are sharp people. And if you don't know anybody like that, then get to know people like that. Build the relationship up until it's appropriate to introduce them to your business, and you can't go wrong because you only need about 3 to 5 of them.
So as a conclusion, you have to be master of friending, not master of recruiting.
Absolutely. It's all about, again, it goes back to what's our system? What do we do, right? It's so simple that an 8-year-old could teach an 8-year-old. We talk to people about what they want, or if we're shy, we let them read the back of a card. Okay, anybody can do that, right? If they want to. They got to have the desire, or else without desire, you have nothing. So that's the first step. Okay. And then if they do have desire, we have them go through the first 5 chapters so they understand network marketing. And then if they want to learn more, we show them our vehicle, right? And I just explained network marketing to you in less than 30 seconds again. And if you're doing more than that, if you're talking more than that, you're talking too much. You're doing too much, because the more you talk, the more they think they can't do what you're doing. And the more you talk, the more they think they don't have time to do what you're doing. Right? And time is the number one excuse people will use not to get involved in your business, especially the right kinds of people. The people who are very busy, people who are really successful, they don't have time for, meaningless chatter. Remember, they're always in action. So you got to get to the point quick. You got to get to know them, so know you, like you, trust you. Get to the point fast, and then you have a chance of getting them. You get 3, 4, 5 people like that, and it's over. You take them down 2 or 3 levels deep. After that, it's just for fun. It's just a game after that. So that's what you want to stay focused on all the time. Yep, it's about building relationships. If that's all you do is go out and build relationships, and then at the appropriate time, because you know them, a question, you get to know Mary. Mary wants $5,000 a month to help her kids in college in the next couple of years. She doesn't want to saddle them in debt. That's her number one priority, to help her kids, right? And she's the right kind of person now. All right, she's a go-getter. She all those things that I talked about. She can't, she only has 5-10 hours a week to work, but she's willing to work hard if she can make that $3,000 to $5,000 a month to help her kids, right? All right. Well, what do you say to Mary? Hey, Mary, I know you love your kids. You want to, you told me before you want to help them in college. You need $3,000 to $5,000 a month to be able to do that. I found a way to be able to help your kids, and do it in the next couple of years. And it's fun and it's exciting, and I'd help you do it. Would you be open to checking out some brief information that explains what I'm talking about? What's she going to say to you? She's going to say, 95% of the time, she's going to say, sure, show me, because that's what she wants. Would it have been better for me to just give her that card? No. All right. I think me talking about being able to help her earn the money for her kids, that her number one concern, is more important than if I would just have her read a card. All right. I'm not saying the card wouldn't have worked. It might have worked, but I guarantee you the way that I posed that question would definitely work with 95% of the people. And then again, and you always have to remember this, and this will keep you from getting discouraged. If for whatever reason they don't get involved at the time, doesn't even matter. Just stay in touch with them appropriately, because every 2 or 3 years, people go through a transition in their life. They get married, they get divorced, they have a child, they have grandchildren, they start a business, their business fails, they end up with a disability and 3 back surgeries. All these things happen to people, but they might not be at the right time when you first talk to them, right? So you have to stay in touch with them so you can be there when they're going through the transition period, okay? When they're open to hearing what you have to say. And again, that's real simple to do. Like if I'm talking to Mary in that example, and she can't get involved for whatever reason now, I write her name down on a card and I put it out a month, 3 months, 6 months, depending upon the situation. And then I touch base with her again at that time to see if the timing's any different. And sometimes sometimes you won't end up being able to sponsor someone for a year, 2 years, 3 years. I knew Don Fela for 25 years before he sponsored me. But he stayed in touch. Had he not stayed in touch, I can guarantee you, I wouldn't, he wouldn't have sponsored me. So it's all about the right people and then staying in touch, and you will win the game every time. It's just like taking a rifle or and aiming it, with a great scope and aiming it right at your target. You can hit the target almost every time. Or like if you're at a casino and you need the 3 sevens, it's like you're at a slot machine, but there's no glass in front of the slot machine. You just put your finger in there and pull it down till you get 3 sevens, and you win. You'll win every time when you do it that way. It's no mystery. Okay.
Next question. What questions should we ask someone who is unemployed? Is network marketing a good way to earn money? Because Don always said, get the job, yes, for the very beginning before. So is it good to ask somebody who is unemployed?
Well, it depends. I mean, if they're unemployed because they're a lazy bum, then it doesn't matter what question you ask them. You know, but if they're unemployed because they got laid off from their job and they're the kind of person that we've been talking about that you're looking for, then the question would go back to what I just talked about. Do you know them? Do you know what they want? Or if you don't know what they want, can you learn what they want? And then ask them the appropriate question. So it depends. Again, it always goes back to these principles go on. It's like there's only, how I do the training on 6 things, a half dozen things that make 95% of the difference. What are they? Let's look at them, okay? Because that'll answer this question. All right. Number 1, understanding the system. And how many steps are to the system? 1, 2, 3. There's 3 steps, right? So that's already half of the 6. And you have to understand why the system works, right? Every desire is the first step, right? Without desire, you have nothing. So people have to understand that, and that's kind of common sense. The second thing is, if you're going to get involved in a business, you have to understand it. I mean, if you want someone to operate on your heart, don't you want your heart surgeon to understand heart surgery? Right? Like you can't, it doesn't matter how much you motivate a heart. Like if you're trying to motivate some, hey, you'd be a great heart surgeon, get out there and do some heart surgery. Well, if they've never understood how to do heart surgery, they're going to kill you on the operating table, right? So the reason number 2 is understanding what we're doing is because if they don't understand it, they'll never be able to do it. They'll kill everybody on that they do heart surgery on. And in network marketing, they'll ruin just like I did in the first year. I ruined everyone that I talked to about network marketing because I thought it was about selling. I thought it was about persuading and convincing and demonstrating. And see, that was my normal nature. I came from a sales background. That was my nature. It made sense to me. But what I didn't realize, what I didn't understand at the time, all right, was that network marketing, right, is not like traditional sales. It leads to sales, all right, but but if you sell up front and you talk too much about products and services up front, you drive or alienate 95% of the people, because 95% of the people want nothing to do with sales. So the second part of the system is designed to make sure people understand that they don't have to be a salesperson to do well in network marketing. If they don't understand that, they're basically doomed. They're not going to make it in network marketing. It's really as simple as that. So is that an important step? Absolutely. And then, of course, the third step is your vehicle, your company product, and your marketing plan. Well, obviously, they have to know what that is too. So, but if you go out of order, if you show your vehicle first, by talking about products and services, you're going to scare 95% of the people. But if you do it in the right order, then what happens? Then practically 100% of the people want to own their life, right? Want time, money, and health. So you've gone from the 5% of the salespeople that most people are tripping over themselves because they think salespeople are going to make them a fortune in network marketing because they don't understand it, right? You've gone from 5% of the population to practically 100% of the population who want to own their life. So immediately, when you understand the value of the order of the system, right, you increase your market share by how much? What's 100% divided by 5%? What is that? Anybody? 100 divided by 5 is what? Yeah, right. You just increased the probability of your success by 20 times. 20 times the amount of product and services that'll flow through your system. 20 times the potential income. 20 times the amount of people that you can introduce your business to. Why? Again, make sure you understand this. It's really important, okay? Because practically everybody wants to own their life, but hardly anybody wants to sell. So why would you go to the salespeople first? All right? It's silly. And the reason people that do it is because they don't understand. And It's as simple as that. So, you know, of the 6 most important things that make 95% of the difference, your first 3 are understanding the reasons why we do the system in the proper order. Okay. And then what are the next 3 things? Okay. It doesn't matter if people go through the system if they're not the right kind of people. So but the next thing is being very selective. And you know the criteria there. You know, track record. Okay, so that's number 4. All right, the 5th thing is, like, if you sponsor one of those kinds of people, they tend to be very impatient. They want to get some wins in the win column. So if you can't help them get started successfully, sponsor, you know, 1 or 2 people in the first couple of weeks, you're walking on thin ice. So you have to be able to get them started efficiently and effectively. Okay. And then once you do that, then you start helping them work down group. You just do basically step 4 and step 5, but you do it in depth. So how long did it take me to explain the 6 things that make 95% of all the difference? Maybe 5 minutes. All right. And when you couple the right people with just learning how to do 6 things, I mean, you find 5 of those kinds of people. And like I said, you get down 3 or 4 levels deep. The rest is just for fun. It'll just start duplicating on its own because those people, they're workers, they're action people, and it's working for them, and they're going to go out there. There's always going to be a cloud of dust coming from behind them. And that's why Don, you know, when in 2008, or I forget the exact year, Don basically retired from network marketing. He had like 170,000 people in his group at the time. Maybe you saw that video where he was writing on the whiteboard, where he talks about how 4 people turned into 170,000 people. And all right, well, he basically retired at the time. He didn't actively build his business. He never even picked up the phone to call his company for about 10 years. He just did the amount of product necessary every month to keep his paycheck coming in. But do you know that his group grew from 170,000 to like 900,000 or 1 million people in the next 10 years? And he had basically retired. He wasn't doing anything. You know, that's what everybody wants in network marketing, but hardly anybody will ever achieve. Why was he able to do that? Because he understood, you know, the 4 sharp people that he sponsored in the very beginning, who he taught his system, right? They were the kind of people that you were looking for. They had all those characteristics that we were talking about, and they went out, and he didn't have to motivate them. They were already motivated. They were the right kinds of people. Okay. So they went out and they talked to people like themselves, and it went from 4, you know, let's just say 5 to make it 5 to 25, 125, and 10 years of not working. And it went from 170,000 people on his team to about 1 million. Is this the greatest business in the world when you understand it? Does that prove it? Like, what other business can you do that? If you're in a traditional business and you walk away from your car dealership or your engineering firm or whatever, and you don't do anything anymore, is that business going to keep on growing and becoming more profitable? No, it's probably going to fail. 98% of the time it'll fail. Okay. That's why network marketing, when you understand the business model, is the greatest business on earth. No question about it. Okay. Next question.
Next question is, have you ever asked a question that encouraged someone to take action in particular? Did you ask somebody something special? Do you remember something like that really blowed somebody out?
Yes, of course, but you need, again, and I've already talked about this, you need to know what they want. I mean, you're not, what are the chances of asking them the right question if you have no idea what they want? So yeah, I mean, you can encourage them. Look at the story I just told about the woman who needed delicate eye surgery with her daughter. I mean, I knew the right question. I knew, you know, I could hook her up with the doctor. Did that encourage her? Absolutely. It encouraged her. It saved her daughter's eyesight. You know, so again, it always comes back to relationships. Build those relationships, okay, with the right people. And that doesn't mean you shouldn't build relationship with the other people. I mean, the 99% of the people in my family and my friends have never been in, I've been in 3 businesses in 30 years. All right. And 99.9% of all the people I know have not been involved in my business, but I'm still friends with them. I mean, I'm going later on this evening, a friend of mine's father died. I'm going to their funeral, right? And probably when I show up there, there's not going to be anybody there, right, who is in my downline now or any of my downlines, okay? And yet I guarantee you, even though it's a funeral and it's a sad time, I guarantee you it's going to be a nice time tonight visiting with my friends who are at that funeral service, because a lot of them I haven't seen in a long time. I've stayed in touch with them over the years. I don't know, some of I like to send, Diane and I like to send greeting cards, in the mail. We send all those people, we have them on a list. Just because they're not in my business doesn't mean that I don't stay friends with them. Now, I can also guarantee you that the people that I'm going to see tonight, a lot of those people have introduced me to people who have gotten involved in my business. So it's like your goal in life should be to build relationships so that people know you, like you, and trust you. All right. And when you do that, all right, all the rest of the things that you need, the right people, you'll find the right people. You'll get introduced to the right people. And again, you only need 3, 4, 5 of them to build anything you want in network marketing. Always keep that in mind. That's so important, because so many people get caught up. Oh, I've got to recruit or sponsor this person, and if they don't get involved, they're all bummed out and disappointed. That you don't have to be disappointed. And there are going to be things that you're going to be disappointed about. We all, wear our hearts on our sleeves, don't we? We think someone's going to get involved. We think they're going to do good, and then they don't do anything. Well, you know what? That's the way it goes. You only need 3 or 4 or 5 people that do something, who are coachable, who treat it like a business. You need to learn to discipline your disappointments. Write that down. Discipline your disappointments. They're part of the game. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're the greatest network marketer that ever lived on the face of the earth. They go through a lot of disappointments just as well as someone who's getting started. We're all basically in the same boat here. And that's why it's so nice to have like all you come together every couple of weeks or so, or however often you do it on Zoom calls and stuff. It's good to bring everybody together because we can share these kinds of stories, and we know that we're all in the same boat. We're just a bunch of humans out there trying to do the best that we possibly can.
You said that even Don last time mentioned something like that the good way to start to ask is ask somebody like that. Do you know someone who blah blah blah? And this is what you said, yes, in previous sentences.
You can use those questions. Do you know? I mean, they're great questions. Who do you know who is retired and would love to have an extra couple $1,000s a month? I mean, they're great questions to ask, okay? But if you don't have a relationship with the person that you're asking those questions to, they're going to say no. They're going to say no. I don't really know anybody like that. Okay. So again, what's it tell you? Like, they're all great questions. What Don teaches is absolutely true. However, without the relationship, it's meaningless. Because I guarantee you, like, if someone that I don't know is asking me to refer them to my best friends in the world, and I don't know them very well, I don't know whether I should trust them. I don't know if they're a serial killer. I don't know if they're a thief who robs banks. I don't know anything about them. So yeah, I know a lot of people that would like that, but I'm not going to introduce that person. I'm not going to say, sure, here's a list of my friends. Give them a call. It's not going to happen. So again, it makes my point, right? It's all about relationships. So constantly build the relationships, and then you can ask the right questions, and you can get in front of the right people. And again, you only need 3, 4, or 5 of them to build anything that you want. It's a pretty simple business, isn't it?
Yeah, I usually did something like that, recommended by my sponsor in my direct selling business years ago. after presentation, ask everybody one by one to refer you some of your friends, and then you will call them and you will have new customers. And I said right now to myself, so this is the cause of the failure of everybody who doing that in the bad way, because it's not working at all. Somebody who gave the contacts immediately called that contact and said, you know, that guy will call you, don't answer or don't call them. So it
Yeah.
can happen like that, yes, in this situation.
Yeah, it always boils down to, do you have this person's best interest at heart?
Mm,
You don't want to put people in bad positions. I mean, if they don't know you, like you, trust you, don't ask them questions like that. That's silly.
yeah.
I mean, you know, always be thinking, you know, what can I do to is it possible for me to influence this person in the right way to help them in their life? You know, and if there is a way to do that, do it. And if there isn't, don't say anything. Just to, you know, wait till you build up that relationship and then come back to them. It just doesn't work, and it's so frustrating. And if people are out there talking to people that they don't have a relationship with, they're going to get so many no's and rejections. They're going to quit on you anyway. It won't work. I mean, there's always an exception to the rule. You know, there are some people that are relentless. They never quit. But what are the chances are you're going to meet someone like that? I mean, the chances are very slim. And even if you do, you'll probably quit before they're successful. So it doesn't even work then. You know. Any other
Okay,
questions?
so next questions. What questions should we not ask in network marketing?
Well, again, it comes back to knowing the people, right? Like if I'm talking to someone who's making $1 million a year, it's probably not a good idea if I say, "Hey Joe, would you like to see a really fun way to make $1,000 a month?" Like, it's a silly question. He's already making, or she's making $1 million a year. It's like, you know, however, you know, if they're making $10,000 a year, that might, and I know them, I have a relationship with them, it might be very appropriate for me to say, "Hey, you know, Mary, if you could see a way to be making an extra $1,000 a month without interfering with what you're doing on your job, would you be open to checking out some brief information?" So again, it's about being appropriate. Like, don't ask questions that aren't appropriate. You know, I mean, it's if I knew that you hated flying, Adriana, you hated flying in an airplane, and I was trying to persuade or convince you to like go up for a ride in my brand new airplane, it's probably not like in your best interest, right? I mean, you're scared to fly, you don't want to fly. It's like, I don't want to make you feel like bad and, you know, put you on the spot. Like, just be appropriate with people, that's all. You know, and again,
I
it
get
always,
to know first, yes.
you gotta know them, you gotta know, or you gotta get to know them. And if you bring up the business in any way, shape, or form, whether it's asking them directly to take a look or to introduce you to someone, if they don't know you, like you, and trust you, you might as well forget it. It's not going to work. Not the smart people would never, I would never give someone a list of my 3 best friends that could do well in their business if I didn't know, like them, and trust them. Never in a million years.
And how about this question, what kind of money do you earn in your business that you would like to present me? Is it correct question or not?
It depends. I mean, in other words, are you saying, asking them how much money they'd like to earn?
Yeah, for the very beginning.
Well, not really. I usually do that like after I sponsor. Like, once I sponsor them, then, you know, after they do their homework assignment and we help them get going, you know, I want to say something to them like, you know, what's it going to take to cause you to treat this like a business? You know, Adriana, what's it going to take for you, to cause you to treat this like a business over the next 6 or 7 months? In other words, how much income would you need to be earning to treat it like a business and go to work with me over the next 6 or 7 months? And then now that's an appropriate question, right? Because I obviously, if you're in my business the way that I teach you to do it, you already know them, like them, trust them. Do you have a relationship with them? Okay. And now they're in your business. And now that's an appropriate question, because you got to find out something that they want, right? And if you don't know that exact amount of money, then go ahead and ask them. And they might say something like, well, in like 6 months time, I'd like to be earning $1,000 a month. Well, then that's very simple. You can just show, based on your compensation plan, you can just show them, what they need to do to be able to make $1,000 a month in 6 months. And if they say, well, I'd like to make $5,000 a month in 6 months, but they can only dedicate 30 minutes a day to the business, then you have to let them know that's probably not like a reasonable objective. Like you might be able to do that in 2 or 3 years, but you're not going to be able to do it in the next 6 months. And here's why. And then you explain it to them, right? And then they might adjust their goals a little bit, based on the amount of time that they can put into the business. So yeah, you want to help them create a game plan. You want to help them create a concrete game plan to help them. I mean, like in our company, I won't mention names because we don't do that here, but $1,000 a month. If you found, let's say you found 10, to make the numbers easy, if you found 10 people, personally sponsored people who were doing $100 a month, and you help them find 10, that's 100 on your second level. That would be what, 110 people, all using $100 a month. What would that be? 100 times 10,000. So you'd be making about a little over $2,000 a month. Okay, so if someone wanted to make, $1,000 to $2,000 a month, and they wanted to do it in 6 months, I'd say, okay, well, here's what we need to do. Let's sponsor 10 sharp people and help them do the same thing. You'll be making $2,000 a month. Sound like a plan to you? Yeah, okay, go to work. I mean, network marketing is so simple, folks. I mean, let's dumb it down to its simplest thing. Like, let's pretend. I like to do pretend things, okay? Let's pretend, all right? Let's pretend that the first 10 people that you introduce your business to all sign up, right? They're the right kinds of people and everything, but they all sign up. They're not, that doesn't happen usually, but let's just pretend, okay? So 10 people sign up. They all utilize $100 of product or services a month in your company, okay? And then you just help them do the same thing that they just did, and you help them go 3 levels deep. Got it? You find 10, you help them go through 3 levels deep. Okay. Do you know how much in the average company? Okay. You probably and everybody's using $100 a product. Anybody out there want to take a guess at how much money you would be making with a group like that? Anybody? Anybody want to take a chance? 10 people on your front level, and you help them go 3 levels deep, everybody finding 10. That's 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000. So that's 11,110 people. Anybody have a calculator? Okay, someone get their calculator out and take 11,110 times 100.
Wait. 11,111 10.
10 times $100, because everybody's using $100 in product a month.
$100, yes. It's
Okay,
1,111,000.
Okay, so it's 1.1 million.
Yeah.
And if you were making, in most companies, you'd probably be averaging about, not in all companies, some people, some less, some a little bit more, but let's just use 10%, just to make it simple. How much are you making on a monthly basis?
Multiply 10%. It's 111,000.
$111,000 a month. Is there anything anybody else needs to know? You find 10 doing $100 a month, you help them do the same thing 3 levels deep. And in most companies, you'd be earning $50,000 to $100,000 a month. Is there anything else? I mean, that's network marketing, folks. That's how it works. Now all you have to do is go out there and do it, right? Because not everybody is going to sign up, right? Like it's never going to work that way. Your goal is to build the relationships with the right people, ask the right questions, sponsor them, and then help them do that. And if you can build an organization like that, I mean, what's the definition of owning your life? Having time, money, and health at a time in your life where you can enjoy it with the people you love. Do you think if you were earning $50,000 to $100,000 a month that would look like your life? I think so. Now people say, well, is that really possible? Are there people that make of course. There are thousands of people who are making that kind of money in network marketing. There's tens of thousands of people making six-figure incomes in network marketing. All right. And there's hundreds of thousands of people, all right, making 10, 20, 30, $50,000 a year. Of course you can do that. I mean, that's the way it works. But most people, like, they either don't understand it or they don't believe it. So that's your job. Your job is to understand it and then believe it and then go do it. Because if you're not doing it, like people say, well, I understand it and I believe it, but I'm not doing it. Chances are you don't understand it and you believe it. If you really want to own your life, if you understand it and believe what network marketing can provide for you and your family, and you're not out there actually doing it, something's wrong. Something's going on. You're either doing it wrong or you don't understand it and believe it, because it works. If you do it right, it works every time.
Okay. So the next question, I just some time ago, I heard from you very, very good inspiration, because usually people in network marketing are looking for somebody who needs something, yes, who needs a job, who needs earning something. And what about the rich people? And you said something very, very interesting, because you said about rich people something like that, that even rich people have dreams. So I would like to ask you, what question should we ask rich people to let them be interested in network marketing?
Well, again, it depends on what they want. You know, in my last example, you know, the guy or gal who was making a couple $1 million a year in his business, but was working 80 hours a week, and it was costing him his marriage and his relationship with his kids. I mean, it's probably not more money that he or she wants, right? You know, if he loves his wife and he wants to save his marriage and he loves his kids, what's he need or she need? You know, more time. So an appropriate question for that person might be, you know, hey, Joe, you know, if I could show you how to work a third of the hours, but make as much money, maybe even 2 or 3 times as much money as you're making right now, would you want to know about it? Okay. Now, maybe it's, you know, that person is making $1 million, $2 million a year, but they want to earn $10 million a year. Now it's a different question. All right, Joe, I know you're making great money, but your dreams are way bigger. What if I could show you a way to spend, 5 or 10 hours extra a week, if you could carve it out? You know, I know you're making $1 million or $2 million right now, but if you learned what I'll teach you here, you could probably be earning $5 or $6 or $7 million a year. Would you want to learn about that? Okay, so it goes back to relationships. Like, you have to know who you're dealing with to ask the appropriate question. And if you don't know who you're dealing with, then you're throwing darts into the wind. You know, you're hoping that what you ask works. And hope is not a very good strategy in network marketing. You got to know what
Hope.
You want to ask the right question.
Have always it was positive attitude, yes?
Yeah, I mean, look at the person.
Everybody.
Yeah, just look at the person that you're dealing with here. I mean, if I'm sitting here on the couch and I start to have a heart attack, okay? I'm having a heart attack right now. But you guys are like, well, Jeff, you haven't finished your Zoom yet. You didn't tell us that stuff that we wanted to learn. I mean, it's like, I think it's more appropriate. Like the question, instead of saying, Jeff, like, find a way to finish your Zoom call, the appropriate thing would be to go, Jeff, call your wife and have her call 911 to get you to the hospital, right? That's the most important thing at the time. So again, look at the person that you're dealing with and do what's in their best interest, not what's in your best interest. Ask them the question that is going to help them get what they want. But first, you have to know what they want. And that sounds like really obvious, right? But in network marketing, hardly anybody ever does that. They just, hey, if you could see a way to, to generate some extra income and it wouldn't interfere with what you're doing now, would you want to take a look? In most cases, like, not really. Unless I had a really great relationship with that person and I knew from working with them in the past that anytime they ask a question like that, there was a great reason for it. Other than that, if it was just an average friend of mine who came up to me and said, hey, Jeff, if you could see a way to make some extra money and, and it was fun, would you want to take a look at it? I'd say, oh, thanks, but no thanks. I'm so busy right now. I can't fit anything into my schedule. But if they ask me a question that pertained to something I absolutely wanted very much, right? Then I'd probably say, yeah, tell me a little bit more about that. So again, it always boils down to the appropriate question with the right person who you have a relationship with. And you got to think a little bit about that. Is it easy? It's like, is network marketing easy? No, it's not easy. But compare it to being a real estate agent or an insurance agent or a doctor who has to go to school for, 8, 10, 12 years of their life, or an insurance agent or a real estate agent that's always on call, working around the clock, always looking for the next client. Network marketing compared to any of those professions, it's a walk in the park. You only need to find 3, 4, or 5 key people who are coachable, who treat it like a business, who understand the business to build anything that you want. Who wouldn't want that? Everybody wants that. But first, they have to understand that it's true. And that is our job. Our job isn't to persuade or convince. Our job is to get in front of the right people, ask the appropriate questions, and then get the right information in front of them. You see? And then if it's the right person, they'll go, yeah, like when I first started, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't understand network marketing, but I was a person looking to get involved in a network marketing business. And I just happened to stumble on this guy who had a magnetic sign on his car and said, ask me about this particular product. And, he was just lucky. And I called him. He had a phone number on there. I called him. I said, tell me about that. And he told me about it and I loved it and I signed up, but it usually doesn't happen that way. Like it was just lucky for me and it was lucky for him, but that generally, if you're going to rely on hope and luck, that's a pretty bad strategy in network marketing. You don't have to rely on hope and luck. I already told you what you have to do, so I won't take any more of your time doing that. But any other questions? I can stick 5 minutes, 4:12. I have about 15 minutes. If you want to stick around, great. If you want to throw me out, that's
the last question, okay? Any helpful ideas on how to start conversations that can be guided so that we can study only your life question? I think that is a little bit like a shortcut way to find a miracle cure, because usually people want to have it done fast. Have it done faster. Yes.
Well, the reason why. Yeah, I mean, the reason why people, that's a good question. The reason why so many people have a hard time getting started. All right. Like maybe getting to step 1. Like, how do what do you say up front in order to be able to ask them the own your life question? Or if you know them real well, ask them an appropriate question that could move them. What I think the holdup with people, again, it comes back to understanding. Like, and I said it earlier in the webinar today. The best way to do it is to give someone a sincere compliment. Just compliment them, but it's got to be sincere. I underline that like 10 times. If you give someone a compliment that they don't really believe, they will not like you. They'll think you're trying to kiss their rear end. Okay. All right. That's what you don't want. That this is all about relationships. You don't build relationships like that. You be honest. You be honest with them. So let me give you an example. And this could be with a friend that you already know, or it could be someone you don't know. An example of someone I don't know was the mailman story. The mailman came walking up. I opened the door. I said, man, I said, thanks a lot. I said, you work so hard. You're out here freezing your butt off in the rain to bring me my mail. Thank you very much. That is, I don't know how you do it. You get up every day and they're out there walking and delivering mail in all this crazy weather, hot, cold, rainy, snowy, every day. I mean, that's an admirable thing. And you know what? That's a hard job. They're doing that. They're getting up early. They're going to the post office. They're putting all their mail together. Then they put it in the truck. Then they go to their route. Then they walk the route for 6-7 hours. Then they go back and they unload everything. Every day of their lives. I mean, that is a hard job. So, compliment that person if it's the mailman. It's amazing what you people do. And it put a big smile on his face. A sincere compliment will take you anywhere you want to go. All right. And then once you give a compliment, now they're totally open. I mean, they're like, wow, because you made them feel good. It was a huge smile on his face. And he started walking away. I said, hey, by the way, I said, would it be okay if I give you my lifestyle card here? My wife and I we're involved in a business. And, instead of advertising and, spending the money for advertising and stuff like that, we just like to kind of give out our cards and let people know what we're doing. Would it be okay if I give it to you? Voila. I planted a seed, right? Now, if I would not have given him a sincere compliment, it would have been, how would I have made that transition, right? Right? He's busy. It's raining. He doesn't want to stand there and talk to me. He's got another 3 hours because he showed up at 1 o'clock and he's going to deliver mail till 4 o'clock. You think he wants to sit on my front porch and have a conversation with me? He wants to go. All right. But now that I complimented him and made him feel good, now maybe he'll give me an extra minute or two of his day. Right. And he did. So again, and you can do that with your friends too. I was up at my in-laws the other week, and my niece, she's a really hard worker. She's in college. She's studying Korean. She's learning the Korean language, which is no easy feat. I mean, that's very difficult. And she works really hard, and she made the distinguished honor roll and everything. I sat her down and I just told, I let her know how proud I was of her. Because, and I told her, not many people could do it. And she's 26 years old. She went to school late. It's not like, she's like 18, 19 years old, like most people who go to school and stuff. So I just sat down, I gave her a sincere compliment, told her how proud I was of her. What happens? The next day she calls up, hey, Uncle Jeffy, hey, Aunt Diane, we're making this big meal today. We're doing this and this and this and this. We want you to come up. Now, I'm not saying that she wouldn't have invited us up anyway, but I guarantee you one of the reasons that she thought of us, because she has lots of aunts and uncles and people she could invite to dinner, but she specifically called us and invited us up and said, oh, we would just love for you to be here, And I think a lot of that had to do with me making her feel special about what she was doing with her life. Make people feel special, but really mean it. That's why my number one thing besides track record, my number one thing is what? Being selective, warm, open, and easy to talk to. There are nasty people that can build network marketing companies. I've worked with some of them, but I'm here to tell you, life is just way too short. You know, find the people with good hearts that really care about other people. You know, build that relationship if you don't already have it. Ask them appropriate question. You'll find your 3, 4, or 5. Just stay focused on that. And you have to remind yourself of that, because once we get off this Zoom call, the kids now have to go to their soccer school, and you have to do this and that, and life, you know, goes crazy on you, right? And it's like you forget you only need 3, 4, or 5. And then tomorrow, when the person you thought was going to get started tomorrow, they call you and say, oh, you know, I talked to my wife and she said, you know, it's just not a good time for us. Now you're disappointed. You'll never get disappointed. And you might get a little disappointed, but you'll never quit if you keep in mind what you need to keep in mind. And that's like, you can't fail in network marketing if you're taking the principles that we're talking about here today and you're applying them consistently. You can't fail. It's impossible. Like, if you quit, it's your fault. Really. If you understand this stuff and you quit, you have no one to blame but yourself. Really, it's and I don't say that to be mean. I just say that to make you think. You know, because network marketing is the best bit once you understand it, and especially once you start seeing some success. Because most people haven't seen much success in network marketing. They don't know what it's like to be 4 levels deep with a couple people down there who are on fire, and your check is doubling every single month. Like, most people haven't experienced it. And you're not hardly doing anything. You know, once you're 3 or 4 levels deep with the right kinds of people, you're getting dramatically overpaid, and you're almost feeling guilty. You're like, why are they paying me this much money? Like, that's the question you have. In the beginning, though, it's the opposite. It's like, you're working and you're thinking and you're attending webinars and you're not making any money. Maybe you're making $10 a month, or your check was $3.36 that month. And you're like, this isn't worth it. It is worth it. It is worth it. You're dramatically underpaid in network marketing in the beginning. And then you're way overpaid. You know, I was talking to a guy last month. His last monthly paycheck was $676,000 for the month. $676,000 for the month. Okay. I mean, like, so does that answer the question whether it's possible? Of course it's possible. Just do the numbers. When you get off here, take 10, using 100, and go 5 levels deep. Take it out another level. All right. The company, if you're in a company that pays 5 levels, they don't care whether they're paying Adriana or Nina or Monica, or they don't care who they pay. All they know is that this person built that organization and they're making a lot of money, and they're going to give you 10% of it. That's all they know. They don't care who it is, whether it's Don or anybody else. All right. Your job is just to go out there, and with the help of your sponsor who knows what they're doing, is to help you do it, if that's your goal. Now, I'm using big numbers here. A lot of people, you know what I mean? They're not interested in those kinds of big numbers. That's fine. If they want to earn $500 or $1,000 a month, then help them create a game plan where they're earning $500 and $1,000 a month. Remember, we expose and we involve, and then we upgrade. So someone who has a $500 a month mentality, that's fine. Help them do that. Once they're making $500 a month, now they probably want to make $1,000 a month. So now help them recreate the game plan. And then when they get to 1,000, maybe they want to make 3,000 a month. Again, I mean, because you're doing the same thing in network marketing over and over again, whether you want to make $500 a month or $100,000 a month. It's always the same things. Now you have to become, building a small puzzle that's this big, making $1,000 a month is a little bit different than making $100,000 a month. I mean, you do have to expand your thinking to build a bigger organization, but for the most part, it's pretty much the same thing. And if you're working with someone who knows how to make the kind of money that you're looking to make, all right, and you work with them day in and day out, all right, you're going to get there. You have to, because it's just numbers. It's math. It's just math. And if you build it, the company will cut you the check. Any other questions?
From my side, this is all. Maybe someone else would like to ask something?
Yeah, fire away.
I don't. Oh, here it is from Sutter. One of the first steps in teaching them to drive, at which point you give them the car keys completely so that they can drive alone, and you can go for another person to teach them to drive.
Yeah, that's a good question. It depends. The answer is it depends. There are some people, like once they once they have the basics down, you help them go maybe 3 or 4 levels deep, so that they're duplicated. All right. They're just off to the races on their own. They don't need you anymore. There are some people like that. All right. There's other people, right? You help them get there and they're still kind of relying on you. At that point, I have infinite, in network marketing, you want to duplicate yourself so that people are doing what you're doing. You don't want to have to be with them forever. But I have infinite patience with people who try. And if they're coachable and they're treating it like a business and they're doing the right things, as long as I have, once they get their business rolling, and remember, you always want to be napkin presentation number 9. You always want to be working down deep as possible in your organization. You're always better off working on your second level than you are on your first. You're always better off working on your 4th level than your 3rd. You're always better working with your 10th level than you are, your 9th. Why? All right. Because when you, and again, go over napkin presentation number 9, because when you're down there working with people who are coachable, treating it like a business, remember, your 10th level pays your 9th, who pays your 8th, who pays your 7th, who pays your 6th, who pays your 5th, who pays your 4th. So when you're down there working, you're putting that fire right down here and it's coming up line and they're ultimately paying you. So to get back to your question, if someone is on my 3rd level or 4th level and they're still kind of relying on me to help them, if I have the time and they're doing the right things, all right, I'll come back up and I'll work with them until they're ready to kind of do it on their own. That's the answer to the question. It just depends. You never want to totally abandon anybody, but at the same time, you have to remember when I say coachable and treating it like a business. When I'm working down on 10th level, 12th level, 15th level, that's treating it like a business. That's how you build it's the best thing I can do for everybody above them. Because if they're doing well, everybody up here is going to be making more money. If I'm just working up here, what do most people do in network marketing? They sponsor their best friend or someone who lives next door to them, right? And then they just want to work with them because they're comfortable with them. Like, you're never going to build a big network marketing business like that. You have to help them sponsor and you have to help those people. And then you have to be working down here. Again, that doesn't mean you abandon the people up here. If they still need your help, if you have time, you come back up and you help them. And if you don't have time, then maybe you talk to someone else in your downline organization that does have a little bit of time, who's also doing well, and you match them up with that person. You have them help them. Okay? Because we only have so much time. Like we have a very limited amount of time on this earth. I just turned 61 years old, and what the average person lives to what? Whatever. Not, I have a certain amount of time until I'm not going to be here anymore, and so does everybody else. So you have to utilize your time in the best way possible, not just with network marketing, with your kids, with your grandkids, with your social life, with, you have to structure your life so that you can, live your life the best way possible with the limited amount of time that we have. The next question.
There is enough questions. Oh, here it is once more. The On Your Life system, we don't have to do three-way calls with your upline. Should we do this or not?
Yeah. I mean, if you don't learn how to do a 3-way call with your upline, you are going to hamstring your business 40-50%. Like, you have to learn how to do 3-way calls or Zoom calls. I mean, like, for example, I mean, if you're new to the business and you introduce your business to someone, all right, a real sharp person, and you've never been successful in the business, right? And this person's a successful person. They know you, like you, and trust you, but they know you've never been successful in this business. The probability of them getting involved with you, because they're taking a chance then, right? Because they know you've never accomplished anything in this business, right? And successful people don't want to waste their time. The most appropriate thing you could do is to get them on a three-way call with someone who is successful in this business. Okay, like Don, or whoever, myself, and you try to match that person up. Like, Adriana, if you sponsored a banker who was real successful, right? And you wanted to remember, it's always about doing what's in their best interest, right? Well, what would be in their best interest? And let's just say that they want to make big money in network marketing. This banker's already making big money. They want to make big money in network marketing if they get involved. Maybe you're just getting started out in this example. They know you're not making the big money, so you probably won't be able to get them started if they know that. If you could connect them with someone in your upline or cross line or downline, by the way, it doesn't always have to be in your upline. All right. When I was in another company, I worked with a guy by the name of Bob Schmidt. He would do three-way calls, cross line, downline. He'd even do three-way calls with people from other companies. If they were a good match to try to get the person that he was trying to sponsor, like, into his business, he would do whatever it takes. I did three-way calls with him with people that weren't even in the company. But these people were like, I remember one, I had a guy who was an engineer, real top. He owned an engineering firm, big money earner, real successful guy. And I didn't, I introduced him to Bob, and Bob was an engineer too, but Bob knew an engineer. He wasn't the kind of engineer Bob was. Bob knew a friend of his who was in network marketing in another company who owned an engineering firm as well. So what he did was he got this guy that he was trying to sponsor, who owned an engineering firm, on a call with this guy from another company who owned an engineering firm, and he matched them up. And he didn't even talk. He just introduced them, and he let those two people talk because they had so much in common. And as soon as they hung up the phone, that guy that Bob was trying to sponsor said, "I'm in. What do I do to get started?" It's really a matchmaking business, really. It's a relationship business, right? Bob had a relationship with this guy who owned an engineering firm. He was working with this guy who owned an engineering firm. He matched them up. It was a done deal. So always be thinking to yourself, what can I do for Daniel, or what can I do for Monica, or what can I do for them to help them get what they want? And if you don't know, and you know that they want to really be successful, then ask them. Say, I know things aren't going as fast as you want them to go. What can I do with you? What can I do for you to help get the ball rolling? Unfortunately, because I've been so busy with the app and updating the book and all these other things, I haven't been able to do that like I normally have done it in other companies. But in the next, we should have this app done. I mean, it could be done by the end of April. It's definitely not going to go past June 1st. All right. And there's some variables there that I can't give you an exact date, but by June 1st for sure, I'll be in the game full time, the network marketing game again, full time. We'll have our app and our community up and running, and things will be more normalized. But again, so you want to go to your people, ask them, what can I do to help you achieve what you want? Because I know it's not going as fast as you want it to go. And do whatever it takes, as long as it's with integrity and it's in their best interest. Do whatever it takes to help your people, as long as they're coachable and they're treating it like a business. Don't do that for people who aren't working. Just because they're buying $40 or $100 of product a month, if they're not really actively building a business, you don't have time to work with them. Wait until they decide that they're ready to go to work, and then help them, because you only have so much time in this business. Time is your most valuable and most precious commodity by far. Yeah. Hey, William. How you doing, buddy? First time I saw you pop up. I don't know what I'm hearing something in the background. I don't know what that is. It's like a radio or something.
Well, good evening, guys. Definitely packed trains mean misery. It also means a lot of wasted time.
Yeah, you better mute it, Adriana, because it's some kind of crazy noises coming through.
Ada, nie słychać cię, wyciszona jesteś.
Once again, we extended the time for today. So thank you very much for today, Jeff, and your time, people here. And I would like to tell you, we can agree also with Jeff, the next meeting could be on April 19th. This is Wednesday. What do you think, Jeff?
April 19th. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's good.
So I invite you on that meeting and prepare your next questions, okay? And we will try to ask.
I see there's some questions here from people who I didn't get a chance to answer it, and I got to run too. So whoever asked those questions, go ahead and contact me personally. You can send them my email or funeveryday.com. All my information's at funeveryday.com. You can find me, and I'll get back to you. I'll take care of your questions for you. Okay.
Yeah. Of course, we also have the messenger group, so you can ask there, probably even better, because more people will see the answer. Yes.
Yeah. Always, that's a great way to think about it. Always try to involve other people if you can. The more people that hear those kinds of things, the faster you grow.
So thank you once again, Jeff, very, very much for your mentoring here.
It's my pleasure. It's an honor to do it for you. I love you guys. And
I love you. Bye-bye. See you next time.
Thank you, Jeff. That was unbelievable. Awesome. Thank you.
You guys are unbelievable. You guys are
Thank
awesome.
you.
It's all about you. Get in touch with me. I want to help you. Starting in another month and a half or so, we're really going to be able to rock this thing. Once that app and new book is up and running, amazing things are going to happen. All right. You got a lot to look forward to. And so all of us do. All right. Love you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.